Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Starting in the name of Allah. Today our question is from Limitation Act. In what kind of legal proceeding will Section 5 of the Limitation Act 1908 be applicable? It is first part, and second part is a court bound to grant any application filed under Section 5 of that Act? Okay, third part, that means last part of this question is there any scope to ask for condonation of delay in a case or appeal instituted under a special law? Okay, so now we will see our answer. Okay, so answer of this first part. Limitation Act 1908 contains provisions of limitation period for instituting civil suits, appeals, and applications in the court. The main principle and object of this law is that if any suit is not filed within the period prescribed for its institution, the suit shall be dismissed at the expiry of such period. Okay. Section 5 of the Limitation Act 1908 provides for the extension of the prescribed period of limitation on condonation of delay. Okay, so on condonation of delay, but it doesn't applicable to original suit. It is applicable only in the following legal proceedings. These are appeal or applications for review, application for revision, or application for a leave to appeal. Last of all, application under any law where section of the Limitation Act has been made applicable. Okay, so appeal, review, revision, leave to appeal, and application. Okay, now we will see second part of this question. Is a court bound to grant any application filed under Section 5? The provisions for granting application of condonation of delay have been provided in Section 5 of the Limitation Act. Section 5 of the Limitation Act 1908 has empowered the court to apply its own judicial mind. Therefore, the court can grant condonation of delay on its discretion. But in this case, the applicant or the appellant must show reasonable grounds in order to make the court believe that he was prevented by sufficient cause from preparing appeal or making the application within the prescribed period of limitation. There was no gross, and he will also show that there was no gross negligence or laxity or inaction on the part of the applicant or appellant. Okay. The provision of extension of limitation period described in Section 5 has given the applicant an advantage of showing cause for his each day's delay, but the applicant cannot take this advantage as his right. Okay, so now we'll see precedent in Krishna Kumar Kempo versus the Jagadish Narayan Ban, year 1971. 322. Court held that even after sufficient cause has been shown, a party is not entitled to the condonation of delay in question as a matter of right. The matter rests in the discretion of the court whether or not to condone the delay. The matter rests in the discretion of the court whether or not to condone the delay. Okay, in this precedent we have understood that if the court thinks that the applicant has failed to prepare any proper step and there is no satisfactory cause on the part of the applicant, the court shall not grant the application for condonation of delay. Therefore, the court is not bound to grant application for condonation of delay. Okay, now we'll see a last part of this question. Is there any scope to ask for condonation of delay in a case or appeal instituted under a special law? Okay, the general rule of interpretation of law is that special law shall prevail over general law. The Limitation Act 1980 is a general law for all about limitation period. So, if there is any special provision for a limitation in any special law, then such special law must prevail. The provisions of the Limitation Act shall not be applicable in the special laws. Okay? For example, the Special Powers Act 1974, the Arthurin Adalat Ain 2003 are special laws, and they provide for a limitation period, and as such the provision of Limitation Act shall not be applicable. According to subsection 2 of the section 29 of the Limitation Act 1908, where any special law prescribed for any suit, appeal or application a period of limitation different from the period prescribed therefore by the first schedule, the provision of section 3 shall apply, as if such period or prescribed therefore in that schedule. Okay, so it is very important. Appeal or application a period of limitation different from the period prescribed therefore by the first schedule, the provision of section 3 shall apply, as if such period or prescribed therefore in the schedule, and for the purpose of determining any period of limitation prescribed for any suit, appeal or application by any special law. The provisions contained in section 4, section 9 to 18 and section 22 shall apply only in so far as and to the extent to which they are not expressly excluded by such special law, and the remaining provisions of this act shall not apply. Okay. Therefore, section 5 doesn't apply to the special law or local law where special provision for limitation are provided. Thus, the scope and application of section 5 is restricted by subsection 2 of the section 29. The condonation of delay as in section 5 is permissible in case of special law or local law, where section 5 is made applicable by express provision. Okay, so it is very important. The condonation of delay as in section 5 is permissible in case of special law or local law, where section 5 is made applicable by express provision. Okay, but the provisions contained in section 4, section 9 to 18 and section 22 shall apply only in so far as and to the extent to which they are not expressly excluded by such special law. Okay, for understand better, now we'll see an example. In case of the Special Powers Act 1974, the Special Power Act 1974 is a special law. Section 30 of this act provides that the aggrieved party may file an appeal to the High Court Division within 30 days from the date of judgment, and this special act is not made section 5 applicable. Therefore, if aggrieved person failed to file an appeal within the prescribed period of limitation, he will not be allowed to condone the delay by filing an application under section 5 of the Limitation Act 1908. but the provision contained in Section 4, Section 9 to 18, and Section 22 shall apply only insofar as and to the extent to which they are not expressly excluded by the Special Powers Act 1974. So that's all about this question, and thank you for watching this video.